A bill to ban the use of SNAP funds for candy and soft drinks is now headed to Governor Evers' desk. Democrats joining Republicans in the state Senate to pass that bill. With 25 votes yesterday, 8 Democrats did vote against it. The bill also funds new positions at the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, helping the state meet the Trump administration's federal paperwork requirements for SNAP. The governor has indicated he will sign this into law. In a statement, he said, quote, "It was important that we get this bill done to help make sure Wisconsinites don't have to fork over hundreds of millions of dollars more in penalty fees to the Trump administration every year," end quote.